Preparation starts now, baby. Let's go.
That's why you pay 60 grand to go to uni, so you can plug in a calculator. Fucking pay fingernails.
He depends on me and he wants to think that he doesn't. So he gives me a bit of attitude to make me feel humbled.
I can't do it for 5.
No, press the time, please.
Holy moly, it has been one of those days.
Preparation starts now, baby. Let's go. Starting physique. Alrighty then, good morning fam. I hope you are having the most amazing day of your life. Please like, comment, subscribe. This is the start of the off-season documentary, which I'm super pumped to bring to you guys. It's going to be awesome to take you along the ride. Just give you a real insight into my training, my week, everything. I'm going to be posting 3 or 4 YouTube videos a week, minimum of 3. I want to try and push for a 4th, which will be a bit more of like a fitness-based lifestyle sort of a vlog anyway. So I'm keen to bring you along the journey. We're doing a testing day this morning, so not going to be a totally fun one, but I'm just excited to get to train again. Like, we're going to be doing 20-meter sprint, CMJ, vertical jump, I think, mid-thigh pull, and then the yo-yo test at the end. So it's going to be interesting to see how we go. Obviously, I've had a week off. My back is still a little bit sore and playing up, so it's not ideal, but we're going to get stuck in. It is what it is. We're just going to move through it. I'll still do everything I can to stay on top of it, but yeah, we're going to get started with our training. So I'm super pumped. I hope you guys are pumped. I hope you guys get something out of these vlogs, and hopefully I can provide some education along the way as well. But now it is time for breakfast. Ta-da! So we've got our favorite peanut butter on toast. I've already taken a bite out of this one because I just couldn't help myself. My mouth was salivating. So this is going to be our pre-workout meal. It's currently, I don't know, my phone's downstairs. I think it's around 8:30ish. So about an hour and a half before we start. I'm pretty hungry, so this will go down a treat and it will digest pretty quickly for me. Everyone's a little bit different with their eating before their training. Some people like a light stomach, some people like a bit of food, some people need to be really, really full. I'm sort of a little bit in between. Some days I just don't feel like eating, so I'm just, all right, I won't. I'll listen to my body. Some days I'm starving and I have to get something in. And then other days, like, I'll eat, I'll start training, and then I'll get a little bit lightheaded and feel like I need a little bit more. So it's always sort of chopping and changing for me. So I'll get this in. I feel like I need it. It's going to help me lift really well. It's going to help me hopefully sprint really fast and keep some endurance in there as well for the yo-yo test. So a good balance of everything here. Obviously, I'm not expecting any personal best today. It's going to be one of those sessions where we're going to see where we're at. As I said, my back's still a little bit sore, so not expecting PBs. Going to go out there, give it our best, see where we're at, and then in 12 weeks' time, we're going to be a hell of a lot better and in a lot better place. So I'm looking forward to that. 6 tablets down the drain. So just took some vitamin C, some MTHF, and some magnesium. Crucial, we'll take them daily, make sure I stay on top of everything. I also need to take my zinc and my B12, which are in liquid form, a little bit easier to digest. But these are just super simple, super easy. The brand is Vimergy. They'll look like that. So if you want to go check those out, I highly recommend. Really good quality stuff, and the only real tablets I'll take. That tastes good. Watermelon Sour Patch, that tastes like. Let's go, baby!
Alright, so we're at peak, about to start our testing day. Weather's been horrible, so a little bit of a change of plans, but we'll get stuck in. Josh, what do we got?
Yeah, so today, based on the unavailability of the speed gates, we're not going to get Jackson's 20-metre sprint today. Hopefully we can get that later in the week or at least early next week. But we'll be putting through AFL protocol of vertical jump with Jackson, which is a running approach with a 3-step load up. We'll also be going through the counter movement jump, which will happen on the force plates, which is our lower body power movement. We're also going to get a mid-thigh pull. By the way, Jackson has done all of these things before, but we just want to get our baseline now. Our mid-thigh pull will be our lower body strength movement. Then we're going to do our yo-yo test. We actually might get some upper body stuff in there today as well if we get the time. So I think, yeah, I do have bench press and bench pull in there as well. It depends on how strapped for time we are with the first few tests, but pretty much from what we get today, that data will provide Jackson with his full off-season program, or at least the first month of it, and depending on how he progresses throughout that time period, it will be altered or changed.
Enough talking, let's go.
We are trying to put quite a reasonable amount of force in the ground. It's sub-maximal, and we are trying to build that springiness in our ankle, but it's a freestyle.
Why did it take me so long to get new shoes? Oh yeah, they feel so much better.
So I'll take 3 as big as you can steps back, or you can do it forward. Up to you. Up to you. Yeah. 2 and 3. Until we miss 2 in a row. So if you want to groove a couple out, that's usually Jackson Edwards style. You need 12 reps before you get a good one. So, I suppose quite a few people watching will be quite curious to see what these are, understand what these are. These are from a company called Vowed, and they're force plates. So essentially these plates here are able to calculate a bunch of things relative to that athlete's weight. So when we do a test, for example, our counter movement jump test, which we'll do now, it'll weigh Jackson first, and it'll get those details and save them to the iPad. And then from there, when Jackson does his counter movement jumps, it'll calculate how much force is going into the ground, how high Jackson jumps, how much concentric force development he's putting into those plates, or relative to an actual movement into the ground when he's on the field. So basically Jackson has a counter movement jump, his hands are going to be on his hips, his feet are going to be pressed firmly on those force plates, and basically what he's going to do here is he's going to drop down and explode up, jump as high as he possibly can with his hands remaining on his hips, and then landing back onto the force plates. We'll do 3 jumps. The momentum that he creates from each jump should not be linked, so he should jump, stick, reset, and then go again. Jackson has 3 attempts. We are going to take his best attempt out of those 3. Explode up, up, and 1, let's go, come on. Up! Let's go. Up! Hey! 37.1 centimeters. Best jump. Horrible. So we've gotten better than that. We've got better than that before. I think 40.6 or something, or 40.7, something like that. It is an isometric exercise, which means there's no actual physical movement. He'll be stuck in a place where the bar will be across the middle of his thigh. He has a 5-second count to pull or push, depending on how you coach it. as hard as he possibly can to a point where he's literally trying to break the bar. With that, it'll actually see how much force he's able to produce over a 5-second period. So in the past, there are a few variables that we try and look for in this where we look for like the rate of force development, so how quickly you can produce that force as well. But because we did a power exercise being the counter movement jump, we actually only really care about the maximum force Jackson is able to produce. If Jackson can produce a significantly high amount of force, but it takes him a few seconds to get there, then maybe that means in his program we need to work on power a little bit more. Conversely, on the other end of the spectrum, if Jackson's power score on his counter movement jump was really high, but his mid-thigh pull was average or subpar, that means that we probably need more strength in his program, but you're pretty strong, right?
Well, apparently not, because we're doing 2 strength.
Jackson's actually really good at being a smart ass as well. Alright, let's do it. Comfortable? Yep. Alright, we're gonna start in 3, 2, up! Go! 2, 1! The only thing is now,
my score?
so 37.46 newtons per kilo. I just have to do some maths real quick. Give me 1 second.
That's why you pay 60 grand to go to uni. So you can plug in a calculator. And then masters, add another 20. 80 grand to use a calculator. Smart investment. Everyone's falling asleep, mate.
344 kilos, so divided by 84.8. That was 4 times body weight.
Oh, it's not bad.
So basically that number here that we came up with, when you look at how many times Jackson pulls his body weight, anything underneath 2 times body weight would be considered subpar, but anything in between, and everything in between 2 and 3 times body weight is considered average. Everything 3 and over is considered elite. 4 is like stupid. Like not many people can do that.
Yeah, that's max. That's what Zeke lifts.
Shit up. Up!
Oh, that's light.
1 more. Yeah, right. Off health and safety.
Practice safe sets.
Someone's on top of you that told you you can't do something, and you're pushing them off. Yeah.
Motivation.
Up! Yeah. Have you ever had any shoulder issues or anything? Or no bursitis or anything?
Not a pussy.
Whoa. Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I got it when I was benching 130.
What do you mean, what's that about?
Why'd
You fucking paint fingernails, man.
I'm saying, why'd you go?
Whoa.
Why'd you go with the pink nose? Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. Oh, I suppose that's the colour of all your boots, isn't it?
Huh? If you took note of my content on Instagram,
You haven't missed it, you would know. No, I like the one.
it's fine, I don't get it.
So this is the relationship. Like he depends on me and he wants to think that he doesn't. So he gives me a bit of attitude to make me feel humbled. But really, I'm his master. Whatever I say, if I told him to run through that wall, he'd do it. Let's come on! There's always a bittersweet moment when someone that you train surpasses you in strength. It's like, oh, I'm proud of you, but also fuck you. Come on! Up! One of the tests that I think are really important is when we do our bench press, that's a really good opportunity to test upper body strength. But a lot of male athletes would like to press until the cows come home, who don't necessarily do the counteracting or the antagonist pulling exercises. And you can actually mess your posture up if you're doing too much push rather than evening it out with the pull stuff. So really good opportunity to get our upper pull in here as well. What do you want on there for 5? No fucking way, mate. Put it. Oh, fuck off. That'll be your 1RM, mate.
We're going to shred it back, mate.
Jackson also hates being told he can't do stuff. When's Tori coming back?
Hopefully never.
What the hell did you just say?
Clip that, Instagram.
Sad. I'm gonna miss this, boy.
You won't be able to train anyone, you'll be that depressed. The energy in this room will be flat. Oh, I can't do it for 5. Take the fucking piss.
Let's go, Cobber. Let's get it. 1 RM, baby.
Yeah, no, that's
Look at
what
the pancakes. Look at them.
just a whole lot of 5s.
There's just heaps of 5s. It makes it look cool.
No, if this is coming up.
Come on. Rip it up. Rip it up. Let's go, Jack. Up, up, up. When it comes to the yo-yo test, Jackson's score is quite important. Not necessarily right now, but improving his score to get it as high as possible is important because for 2 reasons. One, a lot of running prescription will actually come from the results that we get from his yo-yo and also his 2K time trial. We're going to do a type of training called maximal aerobic speed where we're aiming to achieve training at above his VO2 max and lactate threshold. So training above the rate that lactate accumulates in the blood at the point where the body is unable to remove it. When you train above your lactate threshold improves. So trying to get him literally anaerobically godlike. You ready?
Yep. Are we doing the one that builds up quickly or the slow one? Yeah.
Essentially, there's a 20-meter distance that you have to run. There'll be a beep that initiates the run, so you have to run up to 20 meters.
Oh,
when that,
the beep test?
It's like the beep test,
Yeah,
but
okay.
With the yo-yo test, you run up to a point and it will beep, and by that beep, you should be at the second end. If you miss that beep, it doesn't mean you've missed a mark or missed a level. It just gives you your timing, essentially. So if you're changing direction at the time of that beep down that end, you're pacing yourself really well. If you get there before that, you're probably going too hard. If you get there after that, you're probably a little bit behind, you need to pick it up. So we'll go 3 strikes, you're out.
Yep.
So when you miss 3, don't go to the point of you quitting, go to the point of exhaustion. Physically not being able to make that.
Yeah.
I know that
You
probably
tell me.
goes without saying. And I'll let you know when you're done, alright? You just keep going.
Yeah.
So you've got to quickly move that out the way so you've got clear space. You would have noticed down that end there was a beat. That is to just try and get Jackson to pace himself. So it bumps up pretty quickly here and then ends up being a little bit more consistent later in the test. So I think once you get to about that 13, 14 mark, it'll start to level out and be a little bit more consistent. Strike 1. Let's go, Jack. It's so crucial, even at these parts, just to make sure that your timing of the change of direction and you're not overreaching too early. Most football clubs now would use a yo-yo or a 2 kilometer time trial. The yo-yo is really good because there is lots of change of direction in there, but also you get breaks. In football, you're not constantly running, so the sport itself is more anaerobic. This test is anaerobic. They mesh together really well. So. Hey, there he is. That's what I want to see.
Sloppy after a week off.
Go.
definitely.
That was the one that we did for basketball.
Yeah, okay.
Like with Sassy growing up.
Yep.
That was tough. I think the elite guys, the guys that were finishing last in under 18s, were sort of around that 18, 19 mark. Fuck yeah.
Session done.
What's your biggest ick, Jackson? This is a ride that Jackson's been on so many times. I hate when people say that they have no fucking time. You have time, you just don't prioritise it. Yeah, basically, with the data that we've got from today, I'll start the programming, but without the rest of the data, it's hard. So this week will essentially be like an interim week for Jackson. We'll try and make it as close to possible as we can for what's most optimal for him until we know his 20-metre sprint score, which I'd be very interested to see on a sprung court with new shoes what that score is. But yeah, Jackson's got a pretty hefty schedule coming in. It's fun. It's game
Grind time, baby.
Grinding all my life. That's right, man. I'll give you a hug, but you fucking.
Just got home, brother. All right, so session done. Yeah, it's been an interesting morning, I tell you that much. Got to the gym, my audio wouldn't work, so that pissed me off to start off with. Went into the gym, put my bag down, went to put my shoes on, felt something damp inside. I was like, it's raining, but I don't know why these would be damp. Looked in, my whole bottle, the bottom half of my bottle had cracked. So I had to throw that out. I had a whole bag of 1.5 liters of water in there. So all my shoes got wet, everything got wet, took them out, whatever. My training top got wet, so at the start, you would have seen, I probably looked like I'd already done a session, but it was a water from my bottle. Then one of my microphones, my lav mic that I was gonna wear, mine was working, Josh's wasn't, so I gave mine to his because I think he had more to say than what I did because obviously I was training. Then from there, we didn't have the speed gates, so we couldn't test our 20-meter sprint, which I thought we were gonna do today, or our agility sort of stuff. Got into the car wouldn't start because it was coming up with signs of low battery. So I was like, oh great, here we go. I won't even be able to get home. Luckily that started. So it's been a hell of a morning, but we are now here. We're back, we're done. So session over, relatively good session. I think I got a PB in the vertical jump, which was very surprising. We did a yo-yo test, but I'd never done that form of a yo-yo test before. I'd always done one a little bit different to that gets faster, quicker. So I don't really know how to measure that. Obviously my cardio is not gonna be great after a week off anyway, but got that done. We also did my CMJ, which you would have obviously seen, 37. I usually get around a 42, so not amazing. And then my mid-thigh pull was pretty good. I pulled 4 times body weight, and I think my PB has been 4.2 times body weight. So yeah, it's been a pretty relatively good morning despite everything that has happened. I'll now fuel up, get ready to go again, but I think the next lot of testing we're going to do is Friday now. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do any sessions in between that or whether we just use this as sort of like a testing week and then hit the ground running next week because not all of my program has been done. Nothing else to say. Let's go make some lunch. All right, so we're about to have this lunch and then we're picking up a special little package that I haven't actually told you guys about yet. So be ready for that because we got some exciting content going to be coming up for a little brand, but it's also going to change my health. So be prepared for that.
I was online, hold on. Cinematic, what's cinematic mode?
Oh, that's
so
video.
much better than mine. Mine's so shit.
Have you guys been busy?
It's been our busiest day since May.
Oh, really?
So-
That's awesome. Alrighty, so we've got some juice. Mum, you'll be super happy. This is celery juice from the Juice Institute. Absolutely lovely people. And they're absolutely crushing it as well. They just had their biggest day in May, they've told me. So absolutely phenomenal. And hopefully you guys can support them as well because I've got a discount code that I've got to pop up here for you. They do like a subscription based thing. So if you're in Adelaide and you're looking to take your health to another level, protein shake, apple, and the great man himself.
You're 15 minutes late.
What a combo. Yeah, it's because I had to pick up these things from Blackwood. Took me an hour to get home. Do you need these?
So before I was telling you guys about how the day was going and how everything was sort of not going the way it should be. I went to pick up the juice. On the way back, it said 35 minutes. So I was like, okay, sweet, I'll be back. I'll have about 15 minutes before my client and everything will be perfect. It took me an hour to get home.
What?
Anyway, it took me an hour. I got stuck behind these lights for about 30 minutes. Come home, Coach Tim, about 5:15-ish. I get a call from one of the guys at Westies, and I was like, why is he calling me? Like, I'm not meant to be training right now, am I? Like, I was just trying to think back, like, what's going on? Picked up the phone, he goes, hey mate, are you close? And I was like, fuck. We're meant to have our exit meetings tonight, and mine was meant to be at 5:20. He called me at 5:27. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm so sorry, totally forgot.
You idiot. You're honestly an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with you.
He's like, that's all right, we'll do 8:20. So, yeah, it's been an absolute day. I'm going there now at 6:23. He texted me changing to 6:40, whatever. Holy moly, it has been one of those days. It is what it is.
No press this time, please. Look at my new nails. They match my vibe.
This is what you need after a tough day. It's alright, I was telling the YouTube anyway. Alright, bye-bye. Love you so much, miss you so much. Relatively positive meeting with the footy club, so just spoke a little bit about the fitness side of things for next year, what that sort of looks like. Spoke a little bit about the year on review. They were pretty happy with sort of how I went, even though I wasn't overly happy myself. Still a little bit of consistency that I want to build into my game, which is going to help with the mindset sort of stuff that I'll be working on in the off season anyway. So really, really positive. Looking forward to next year, wherever that sort of holds for me. We'll wait and see, but keen for football next year anyway, but just going to focus on the present, staying in the moment, and continuing to train my ass off. So that is the end of today's video. I'm going to go watch some YouTube, chill out, do not much. We'll watch some YouTube, and then we are done and dusted. So one thing from me to you is to stay fearless, because fear is the number one thing that holds people back at the moment. So stay fearless.